back to On the Middle East, Al Monitor's flagship podcast on the big and interesting stories in the region. Today we'll be looking at Pakistan and its role as one of the leading mediators in the Iran conflict. Pakistan is the sole Muslim country to possess a nuclear weapon. It shares a border with Iran and is closely allied with Saudi Arabia and China. My guest today is Khurshid Kasuri, who served as Pakistan's foreign minister between 2002 and 2007. In 2005, Kasuri became the first high-ranking Pakistani official to formally meet in public with an Israeli one. It was his Israeli counterpart, Silvan Shalom. However, Pakistan has not joined the Abraham Accords, and Kasuri says while his country harbours no hostility towards Israel, neither Pakistan nor Saudi Arabia can establish ties with the Jewish state without a peaceful and just resolution of the Palestinian question. Welcome to our program, Mr. Minister.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So please tell us, where does Pakistan's mediation efforts to resolve the Iran conflict currently stand?
Well, a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday or the day before, the Iranian interior minister was in Islamabad. Now, I'm sure he's a busy man, and Iran is in a difficult situation. So there must be something that he came to talk about. And he did not meet just his counterpart. He also went to the general headquarters of the Pakistan Army and met Field Marshal Asim Munir. Now, that gives you some clues that was not just about border relations, refugees. There are no refugees, luckily, between our countries. Border trade, I should have said. So it must have been about this. And there are reports already floating around how accurate they are, that the two parties are already trying to keep their sort of contact alive in Switzerland. Now it's also in Pakistan's national interest for reasons that are obvious to Pakistanis, but may not be so to others. First is our special relationship with the Muslim world. We are neither Arabs, we are neither Turks, and we are neither Iranians. Pakistan was created in the name of Islam. It's an overwhelmingly Sunni country, but it's a very substantial Shia population. And the Shias hold important positions in Pakistan. So whatever a government does, it has to keep into consideration the public opinion. This is a very huge country compared to some of the other countries in the region. We have a population of 250 million. So we can't just operate in a vacuum. And that's what gives some stability, but also poses problems. It gives stability because a government cannot err too much. It cannot be seen as taking steps, for example, which are against the interests of Palestinians. Because since the day Pakistan was created, apart from Kashmir, Palestine has been an important issue. No government in Pakistan can dare to do it. Similarly, our relationship with Saudi Arabia was unmatched. We've had a defense relationship with them from the very beginning. In fact, we have had defense relationship with most countries in the Gulf, including the UAE, Bahrain. We have trained air forces, navy, and we've had substantial defense relationship with various countries in the Gulf. So Saudi Arabia has a special relationship because our troops were there. Probably some people say a division level, others say a brigade level. But whatever their number, it was about 15 to 20,000 at one stage.
Why do you think both Iran and the United States decided that Pakistan, alongside Oman and Qatar, would be a good interlocutor for these talks and going forward, especially given how fragile this MOU that now seems to be in tatters?
So, thank you for asking this question. I speak not with just any academic information. I speak with concrete information. Since 1979, there's no country, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, any other country in the world, which has managed Iranian relations in Washington since 1979. There's no country which has managed American relations in Tehran. We've looked after that. I was foreign minister. Messages were passing through me. They were not passing through any third country. Why were we the bridge between United States and China? There must be some special reasons. Is it our geopolitics? Is it our geography? I don't know. Or is it the Foreign Office? We have learned to live with neighbors who are bigger, and we've always learned some arts of diplomacy. So we were very close to China and the United States at the same time. Kissinger went through Islamabad too. So why are we the people? When Mr. Larijani wanted me as Foreign Minister of Pakistan to carry a message to President Bush regarding Iranian nuclear program, he didn't use any of the countries that you asked. He used me. He used Pakistan. He used Islamabad. And he was sitting in my office for 4 hours, the late Larijani. We drafted a memorandum for President Bush. I delivered it to Condoleezza Rice in Washington. Condoleezza Rice was constantly sending messages through me to various counterparts of mine, Farazi, Muttaqi, and also to Mr. Larijani. So when you say why, no, there was no country in the world. It's only one country. There are 2 or 3 that you named, which could act as that bridge, because we've done so since 1979. Number 2, we have not changed sides. We have taken principled positions. We have been allies of the United States, but when the United States attacked Iran, we condemned it recently. I'm sure you noticed that. When Israel and the United States attacked Iran, we condemned it. So there has to be some principled position consistency, which breeds a degree of confidence. So when you ask me why Pakistan, I would say there can be no other country than Pakistan for the reasons that I've given you since 1979 and even before Iran was created.
It's conventional wisdom, though, that Pakistan would not act without some form of consent from Saudi Arabia. And some people go as far as to suggest that when the Pakistanis are sitting in the room, in fact, the Saudis are right there, if not physically. How would you respond to that?
So when you say one country sitting in another country and the other person is in the room, well, I'm very glad to hear that if Saudis have so much trust in us and we have so much trust in the Saudis, we look after Saudis' interests. And I have no doubt that they look after our interests. But in the ultimate analysis, we can do nothing that violates the aspirations of the people of Pakistan.
So the United States and Saudi Arabia have reached an agreement for the transfer of nuclear technology for peaceful purposes. There's long been speculation that Pakistan could help Saudi Arabia develop a nuclear bomb. What impact will this agreement have on the balance of power in the region?
Now, as far as Saudi Arabia is concerned, with the signing, I'm very happy. I am happy because I don't think Israel has the monopoly to have access to nuclear knowledge. I'm not talking about nuclear weapons. They actually have the weapons. And I'm very amazed when they object in principle to other countries acquiring in the name of non-proliferation. When Pakistan was trying to make its bomb, it repeatedly offered to India that we will not make a bomb if you make South Asia nuclear free. Israel has never offered to any country in the region that if you never make weapons, we will take verifiable action to dismantle our weapons. So it makes a lot of sense for Saudi Arabia to wish to acquire knowledge. We also hear President Trump saying this is subject to Saudi Arabia recognizing Israel. I was very amazed when this thing was added, because Saudi Arabia is one country which has a substantial population. Other countries in the Gulf are relatively small in terms of population. It has to take care of its public opinion. It has, 3.35 or 40 million people in Saudi Arabia, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not a small country. In fact, in territory, it's very large. It's huge. It's maybe twice or thrice the size of Pakistan. Maybe it's as big or bigger than Iran. But it also has a substantial population. Wherever the population, whether it's Pakistan, Bangladesh, Indonesia, wherever there are Muslims, there is a sentiment. So I doubt if the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is unaware of the sentiments of its own population. And that is why Saudi Arabia, from the word day one, has said, yes, subject to the record of the two-state solution.
Can I just ask you again about potential Pakistani support for helping Saudi Arabia develop a nuclear weapon?
You don't expect me, as former foreign minister, very seriously to answer that question. We are bound by our commitments to the international community regarding non-proliferation. When was the agreement signed? Let me ask a counter question. After Qatar was attacked by Israel, everybody realized that American guarantees could not stop Israel. Israel is its weak point, despite the fact that the US may make commitments in good faith, but I don't have to explain to you how powerful the Zionist lobby is in Washington, how powerful it is in both the parties. So, similarly, the Gulf countries realized that. It was in that context, knowing that we have had a 50, 60 years relationship, defense cooperation in Saudi Arabia, that this was signed one day after, or a few days after Qatar was attacked. So there's a background. The background in people's mind, now I'm not a foreign minister currently. What are people of Pakistan thinking? Why was it signed? Because they keep on talking of Greater Israel. They even claim parts of Saudi Arabia. For that, Pakistan would fight. That's the difference. It's not just words. If Saudi Arabia was attacked, yes, Pakistan is bound by the treaty. So that's why we have troops on the ground.
Yet Saudi Arabia has come under repeated attack from Iran-backed militias based in Iraq and perhaps even by Iran itself. Why then has Pakistan not done anything about that?
So my point is this, that Pakistan will support Saudi Arabia if it comes under attack from Israel. There's no question. Now, if a third country attacks Saudi Arabia, again, we will be bound. Now, I don't think Saudi Arabia needs our missiles. Surely you know that. They have the most sophisticated American aircraft and missiles. And if a missile has to be used, it does not have to say made in Pakistan. If Pakistan is to be tested, then if Saudi Arabia's sovereignty, integrity is in doubt, Pakistan will stand by it. Absolutely.
So coming to this new regional grouping of Pakistan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey, how concrete do you believe that alliance is or potentially can be? And do you think it's sustainable? And under what circumstances?
Okay. Now, first of all, it's a very wise decision. It's not a military alliance. They're coordinating their efforts. One of the primary things they said was about Palestine being the cause. Correct me if I'm wrong. They've been met many times. The foreign ministers have met many times. They've repeated the need for a fair Palestinian solution. And then they also realize, given the power of the Zionist lobby in Washington, even if United States President Trump wishes to do all the great things for Saudi Arabia or any other Gulf country, Israel would have a veto through the Zionist lobby in Washington. So the Arabs thought that they need to take possession of their own security and stability, Arabs and non-Arabs. So which are the four countries? Pakistan is the only Muslim nuclear power which has a huge standing army and a battle-tested army. Turkey is a member of NATO. It's a member of NATO and has very sophisticated defense infrastructure. Egypt has the largest standing army in the entire region. So it's sending a signal. The only nuclear power in the Muslim world, the only NATO Muslim country, and an army which almost beat Israel in the 73 war. They're not saying anything. They're just saying we are cooperating amongst ourselves to bring peace and stability. Nobody can object to that. And why should anybody object? When American media daily has debates, and it's just not a state secret, Americans are saying, it's not our war, it's Israel's war. It's caused split in the United States. So if the Muslims in the Gulf are thinking like that, nobody should be astounded.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Minister. That was a fascinating discussion. And let's hope for peace in the region.
Let's hope for peace.
And this brings us to the end of our show. Thanks for tuning in. For more in-depth analysis on the Middle East, go to our website www.al-monitor.com.